CPR 15.1 explains that this part not to apply where a claimant uses Part 8 procedure. This part does not apply where the claimant uses the procedure set out in Part 8. Alternative procedure for claims. CPR 15.2 is concerned with filing a defense. A defendant who wishes to defend all or part of a claim must file a defense. Part 14 contains further provisions which apply where the defendant admits a claim. CPR 15.3 is concerned with the consequence of not filing a defense. If a defendant fails to file a defense, the claimant may obtain default judgment if Part 12 allows it. CPR 15.4 is concerned with the period for filing a defense. 1. The general rule is that the period for filing a defense is A. 14 days after service of the particulars of claim, or B. If the defendant files an acknowledgement of service under Part 10, 28 days after service of the particulars of claim. Rule 7.4 provides for the particulars of claim to be contained in, or served with the claim form, or served within 14 days of service of the claim form. 2. The general rule is subject to the following rules. A. Rule 6.35, which specifies how the period for filing a defense is calculated, where the claim form is served out of the jurisdiction under Rule 6.32 or 6.33. B. Rule 11, which provides that, where the defendant makes an application disputing the court's jurisdiction, the defendant need not file a defense before the hearing. C. Rule 24.42, which provides that, if the claimant applies for summary judgment before the defendant has filed a defense, the defendant need not file a defense before the summary judgment hearing. And D. Rule 6.123, which requires the court to specify the period for responding to the particulars of claim when it makes an order under that rule. CPR 15.5 is concerned with an agreement extending the period for filing a defense. 1. The defendant and the claimant may agree that the period for filing a defense specified in Rule 15.4 shall be extended by up to 28 days. 2. Where the defendant and the claimant agree to extend the period for filing a defense, the defendant must notify the court in writing. CPR 15.6 is concerned with service of a copy of the defense. A copy of the defense must be served on every other party. Part 16 sets out what a defense must contain. CPR 15.7 is concerned with making a counterclaim. Part 20 applies to a defendant who wishes to make a counterclaim. CPR 15.8 is concerned with the reply to defense. If a claimant files a reply to the defense, the claimant must A. File the reply with a directions questionnaire, and B. Serve the reply on the other parties at the same time as it is filed. Rule 26.31 and 6 requires the parties to file directions questionnaires and specifies the period for doing so. Part 22 requires a reply to be verified by a statement of truth. CPR 15.9 explains that no statement of case may be filed after a reply without the court's permission. A party may not file or serve any statement of case after a reply, without the permission of the court.